thank you for joining us on Weather Out West, the hour-long show where we showcase what's happening weather-wise across the western United States. I'm Savannah Welch, and we'll get to those forecasts in a moment, but first, we're continuing to track the massive winter storm that has grappled the eastern half of the United States. We're giving you a live look at Cincinnati and Nashville. You can see just how much snow has fallen this last week. A lot of major issues on the roadways, especially with this winter storm. And the winter storm has already been blamed for at least 21 deaths, many of them believed to be from hypothermia. In Dallas, over 1,000 people are seeking refuge from the cold in local shelters. Communities in other parts of the country are feeling the impact of these conditions as well. Victory Mission in Springfield, Missouri set up 136 beds by Sunday night. All but 11 were completely filled.
What we're trying to do here is get you in, get you a bed, get you warmed up, get you fed.
Over at the Veterans Coming Home Center, Pastor Mark Glenn says more than 200 people were there Monday morning looking for a hot meal and a warm place to stay.
Winter weather for the homeless can be deadly. And so we are going to be open. We're opening early, we're closing a little later to help our homeless brothers and sisters.
Those coming through the shelters say they're thankful that the space is available.
It was in the negative temperatures, below zero the past few days, and they all worked together to make sure that we didn't go hungry, that we didn't get cold. We were all somewhere safe. We had a safe place to sleep.
More than 500,000 customers are still without power from Texas to Virginia after this crippling ice storm. Mississippi and Tennessee were hit especially hard, including the Nashville metro area. Georgia also saw significant freezing rain, leaving some areas without power. Bernd Peterson reports.
Along Duncan Bridge Road in White County, trees and power lines are down, and so are the lights and heaters.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Trees down everywhere. The power lines just snapped from the poles.
Tim McIntyre is one of more than 30,000 county residents who lost power during last weekend's ice storm, and some who called for help couldn't get it.
There was a time last night that we were only responding to life-threatening emergencies.
The Public Safety Department's Bryce Barrett says rescue crews had to cut their way through roads like Duncan Bridge with chainsaws because too many fallen trees were in the way.
And finally they come back and they said, trees are falling all around us. We're getting back in our truck and we're trying to get back to station.
By noon on Monday, power crews had fanned out across the county, putting lines back up and switching them back on. Residents like Tim McIntyre hope their place will be next. He survived a winter storm that behaved more like a tornado.
Literally, the trees sounded like they started exploding. I was just standing there watching. It was like gunshots going off, trees just snapping everywhere.
With cleanup underway, communities are pitching in and coming together during this time. Janae Reese reports on how people in Maryland are digging out after this heavy snowfall.
Shoveling sleet is not the same as shoveling snow.
From Howard County,
It's quite different.
to Harford County,
Pushing snow out of the way is a workout.
and even Anne Arundel.
But it's a solid sheet ice, and it's only getting colder.
Several people like Julia Mueller picking up a shovel to move lots of snow and ice.
All the gyms are closed, so I was like, well, what am I going to do? I figured I'd get a start on it.
Looks like I'm just going to have to just shovel out the snow and all that stuff, do all that. Yeah, it is what it is.
While some choose to enjoy an extended weekend in Baltimore City.
Hills are a little bit shorter, but everyone's super nice. All the neighbors are out having a great old time.
On Monday, most counties, city interstates, and main roads are cleared off for the most part, but many neighborhood streets virtually untouched since the storm began.
You've got, 5 inches of snow or something with about a 1-inch crust on top of it. And you keep falling through the crust, and sometimes you step in a spot, and then you slide to one side and slide to that side.
Work crews slowly making their way through neighborhoods while car owners team up to clear off their cars and everything around it.
We had a shovel, we had a scraper, so he was in charge of just shoveling all the snow around my car. I was in charge of scraping everything off of the top of my car.
And it's heavy, and I'm starting to feel my age.
Many local governments and work crews all over continue to slowly plow roads as their attention turns to freezing temps.
Better just to stay safe, stay home, stay off the roads if you need to.
Keeping roads clear has been a top priority for state departments of transportation, especially in Ohio, where a snowplow escorted an ambulance carrying a child to the Cincinnati Children's Hospital during the storm. Adrian Whitsett tells us more.
All hands on deck to save a child in the middle of record-breaking snowfall.
It didn't really sink in until I got there and the ambulance was behind me with their lights and sirens.
An ODOT driver behind the plow for a most important mission.
That window of time was important because the conditions were only worsening throughout the day.
As a father myself, it hit me like, I don't know the age, the sex, the race, the religion of this child, nothing, no details, still don't know. And it was get this child to this hospital for whatever they need.
We had an awesome friend from ODOT that met us on the highway to get us there, and we got the baby here safely, so that's what matters in the end.
A snowy drive from Children's Hospital to Mercy Hospital and back.
The minute that we saw Joe, we knew everything was going to be just fine.
And baby Bryson is doing fine with a little help from some new friends. A driver just doing his job, and a team of EMTs ready to answer the call.
Plow the way safely, let's get there in one piece, and because it's probably the most important trek of my ODOT career. It wasn't just pushing snow, it was getting this ambulance to this hospital safely and back.
Roads aren't the only form of transportation affected. The ripple effect is still being felt in air travel as major East Coast hubs dig out from heavy snow. Airlines are now scrambling to recover after widespread cancellations on Sunday. More than 11,600 flights were scrubbed on Sunday. That made it the worst day for canceled flights since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic in March 2020. Conditions improved on Monday, but about 14% of flights were still canceled. Several major school districts closed or shifted to virtual learning on Monday because of the storm, and some remain closed today. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani dropped into a remote class yesterday to read with students and help boost spirits. And some kids that didn't have school took advantage of the snow by going sledding. Others found a way to make light of this winter storm. A Fort Worth man used the weather to create a giant ice sculpture in his front yard. Bo Evans has more on his major masterpiece.
I'm just playing and having playtime.
With each stroke of his knife, Paul Miller is creating something totally Texas.
Stock show rodeo going on. I figured a bucking bull would be a good way to represent Fort Worth in Texas.
Well, the bucking bull is very on brand for Cowtown. But one made of 3 massive blocks of ice, that's a little different.
It's a bit of an oxymoron to have an ice carving in Texas.
But when the weather gets cold enough, the chef turned professional ice sculptor loves to put on a show for his neighbors, a few of which stopped by while we were interviewing him.
We came over here to see the ice sculpture. We saw it on Facebook and we were just a few streets away, so it was a good adventure for us.
That's dirt.
It's something Paul loves to do every winter he can.
Took the trash can and filled it up with snow and packed it with water and flipped it over, and I had a block, and I carved it into a gorilla. And I don't have any pictures of that. That's been 15, 20 years from the first snowstorm, and it just kind of evolved from there.
Evolved into something Paul loves to do.
The fact that I can quickly, in a few hours, create some magic and art and see all the people come by with smiles on their face taking pictures.
Helping turn his neighborhood into a true Texas winter wonderland.
And it's important to note the U.S. wasn't the only place impacted by the snow and freezing rain. Parts of Canada are digging out as well. Toronto was one of the hardest hit, with nearly 2 feet of snow falling across the city and surrounding areas. It's one of the worst snowstorms to hit the region, forcing government offices to close. Work crews are busy clearing the streets, but officials warn getting around the city will still be difficult, whether you're driving or traveling by foot. And as the U.S. and Canada deal with the winter storm, a major heat wave bakes Buenos Aires. Ivan Sarmenti reports on that as well.
While parts of the United States are freezing, here in Buenos Aires, on the other end of the continent, the heat has been overwhelming. For several days now, temperatures have climbed above 30 degrees Celsius or 86 degrees Fahrenheit. We are in Plaza de Mayo, in the very center of Buenos Aires. It's midday, and this is how people here are coping with the heat. How are you dealing with the heat?
It's very, very hot. I'm from Sydney, so there's a lot more humidity here.
Well, but you're not suffering the freeze that is suffering the United States.
No, very, very lucky not to be suffering that, no. But your beautiful city, I absolutely love it. Really lovely. I'm going from air conditioning to air conditioning to air conditioning, trying my best to stay cool.
The high temperatures are expected to persist at least until Tuesday, when some rainfall is forecasted. But even then, the heat wave is likely to continue throughout the week, according to forecasters. Ivan Sarmenti, CNN, Buenos Aires.
Denver is finally thawing out from sub-freezing temperatures. A milder and drier weather pattern is expected to settle over the area for the week ahead. Chris Bianchi and Katie LaSalle bring us the latest from north central Colorado.
Well, after a brutally cold stretch across Colorado over the last few days, on Monday we warmed things back up, and here across the Centennial State will stay mild for the rest of the week. Here were our high temperatures on Monday. Now, worth noting in Denver, if you're unfamiliar with Denver, this is fairly common. We had a low temperature of -6 on Monday morning. About 12 hours later, 45 degrees in Denver, Colorado. All of that thanks to downsloping warming winds off of the Front Range. That's spiking those temperatures dramatically in just about a 12-hour stretch on Monday. Sunshine helping out as well, 20s and 30s in the mountains. But it was also windy on Monday, those winds peaking around 77 miles an hour at Dakota Hill. That's in Gilpin County, about an hour and a quarter west of Denver. West side of the metro area, of the Denver metro area, picking up some 60 to 70 mile an hour peak winds back on Monday as well. But the overall weather pattern across the western, really half of the country, many of you know this, that it's dry and it's mild for the next little while, thanks to that ridge of high pressure that will influence Colorado's weather as well. Unfortunately, here in Colorado, we are desperate for snow. It has been our worst start to a snowpack season on record. That's even keeping in mind our recent snows that we had over the weekend. And this weather pattern, this is not what we need here across the western half of the country, specifically here in Colorado. Highs coming up here for Tuesday, 40s Eastern Plains, that 7-day forecast. Overall, we're just maintaining this dry, mild stretch. So high in the upper 40s on Tuesday, even warmer for tomorrow for Wednesday. And then for Thursday, Friday, we cool down a little bit with some light mountain snow on Thursday. But that snow in the mountains, it's a drop in the bucket compared to what we need. And then the end of the weekend, we spike back to 60 or near 60 degrees. So for a little context here, folks, our average high this time of year in Denver, it is in the mid-40s. And we're talking about 40s and 50s and dry weather over the next few days. Not great news for our lagging snowpack.
I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team's Katie LaSalle. The Arctic air mass moving off to the east, the west coast in Colorado, our next ridge of high pressure building in, and that is going to create some relatively mild and dry conditions. A weak system will bring us our next best chance for picking up a little light mountain snowfall, but nothing major. And as we look at our most recent Colorado snowpack, unfortunately, we are dealing with the worst snowpack to date on record, even after this last weekend's snowfall. It's not really going to create much in the way of helpful conditions for drought or our snowpack. Our ski areas are saying, please bring on some more snow. Here's what it looks like on our forecast. So our next best chance for picking up some light moisture into our northern and central mountains won't cause a huge impact on our roadways in and around the high country. Will be Wednesday night through Thursday. How much snow are we talking? Unfortunately, just a trace amount in most spots. Steamboat the most, but that's only 1 inch. Winter Park down through Eldora, many of our Front Range ski areas around 1/10 to 1/2 plus of an inch. So our seasonal snowfall from the mountains to the plains, and specifically looking at Denver, this is really low, historically low almost for us here in town. This is actually tied at the 20th lowest snow on record at 13.4 inches. We did pick up some snow accumulation on Sunday as we saw that cold air and snow roll in, but not a lot. Typically by the end of the season, right now at 13.4 inches, Denver on average sees 27 inches just at the end end of the month. Now, I do want to mention that March is Denver's typically snowiest month, but as we look ahead at our next 7 to 10 days, a relatively warm and dry weather pattern just kind of moving in and dominating with that ridge. Our drought monitor really not looking great, especially for our central mountains. Aspen, Snowmass, Fairplay, Alma could really use some more snowfall, but you can see from this 7-day forecast, I wish we were talking big winter storms. The East Coast, the Northeast, really getting hammered all winter long. Colorado, we are left with pretty dry, overall mild temperatures. Will be in the 40s seasonal on Friday and then warming up to the upper 50s Saturday and Sunday. Up next on Weather Out West, we'll take a look at the forecast in the Golden State and those Santa Ana winds that are back in Southern California. Stick with us. And this all brings us down to San Diego, where Santa Ana winds are settling in tonight. Coastal mountain areas could see gusts of 20 to 35 miles an hour. Meteorologist Vanessa Paz explains how this is affecting wildfire risk.
Happy Tuesday from San Diego, California. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz. Here in San Diego, how do I describe this? We have been spoiled rotten with weather, especially when we compare about 2/3 of the nation that are continuing to be under this Arctic air that is just not really letting up and won't anytime soon, for at least for the next several days. Weather headlines here in Southern California, we are experiencing brisk nights and mornings. We start off in the 30s and 40s, but when we talk about the spread in comparison to what we wake up to versus what we see during the day, we're talking about anywhere between a 40 to 50 degree jump or so. All right, it is going to be a warm week here in San Diego. 80s are going to make a return eventually on Thursday and Friday, which is surprising and unusual for this time of year because after all, we are still in the thick of winter season and we have yet to be really feeling like winter, at least for the past couple of weeks or so. We had some Santa Anas yesterday. We will continue to see another round looking ahead to Thursday and Friday as another ridge moves east over Southern California, ushers in that onshore flow. So as I mentioned, we woke up to 30s and 40s this morning, but when we talk about the warm up that we're expecting this afternoon, I mean, take a look at this. This is our San Diego special, as I like to call it, 70s with plenty of sunshine for the inland valleys. We have some of those inland neighborhoods like Santee, El Cajon, if you're familiar, for example, Valley Center. Those will be some of the neighborhoods that climb close to 80 degrees. Meanwhile, for the coastal and beach neighborhoods will be a little cooler in the upper 60s and low 70s later on today. Mid 60s for our local mountains, and we'll be touching into the low 70s for our desert communities. So big picture, again, we just have this pattern of ridging that's kind of acting like our superhero from the cold temperatures, and it's keeping the storm track well to our north. This one will sink south, and then we'll have a secondary one towards the end of the week, and that's going to provide very warm temperatures as we look ahead to Thursday and Friday. It's hard to talk about, again, our forecast without mentioning what's happening nationally. This morning, we had cold weather advisories, extreme cold warnings, as well as freeze warnings for much of the country, especially to the southeast. Those have expired, but then we still have these freeze warnings, or excuse me, these extreme cold warnings for some areas in the Northeast, for example, in New York, Boston, as well as New England. These are high temperatures for today, and San Diego is still one of the big winners with the warmest temperatures across the country in comparison to the Midwest all the way towards the East Coast near the Mid-Atlantic. 17 degrees for high in Lincoln, for example. We're at a -8 in Minneapolis. We'll touch down in the high 60s, meanwhile, when it comes to the West Coast of California. 7-day forecast looks like this across the board. We'll climb into the mid to high 70s on Friday and Saturday. And then just as we kick off February, temperatures cool down a bit. And Monday, Groundhog Day. The inland areas will be in the low 80s Thursday and Friday. So as I mentioned, those will be some of the warmest days when we take a look at the next 7 for us here in San Diego. And then we'll have onshore flow slowly starting to make a return this weekend, and that's going to cool things down a bit on Sunday. The mountains will stay mild in the 60s, still really cold nights ahead, and then we'll be in the 70s on Thursday and Friday. We have a couple of days of the 70s for the deserts, and then we're seeing 80s rebound by the time we get to the end of the week.
A quick moving system is on the way to Sacramento, bringing showers to the region, but it's not expected to stick around for long. Here's meteorologist Monica Woods with the timing of that system.
I'm meteorologist Monica Woods, and we're finally tracking changes across the west. That includes some showers for northern and central California. So we're going to be tracking that for the coast, the valley, and the foothills, plus light snow expected for this year. We actually need to get things going since we've been largely dry since the beginning of the month. Big boom in late December, early January for precipitation, and since then it has been virtually not a drop in the bucket, but things are about to change. Not a huge change, but just enough to kind of mix up the atmosphere here. I want to check in on our reservoirs. They've actually pulled back from releases in Northern California from those water releases that we saw earlier because of big gains that we saw with precipitation early in the month. So now that things have largely dried out, they're pulling back on those releases, kind of holding on to everything that we've got right now. Things are still looking good at one of the biggest reservoirs in the state. The state manages Lake Oroville, and they have since pulled back on those releases. Still a little bit of a trickle to meet some federal regulations, but overall, we're going to stay status quo here until we see things going again. But in terms of overall picture, the reservoir is looking really healthy. Now, February is one of the wettest months of the year for us in Northern California, so we still have some time to catch up here. By March and April, we really start to see things dropping off, particularly for our snowpack. Things are going to change in the short-term forecast as well. Heading into our Tuesday late-day forecast, we see this band of precipitation picking up all the way from the central coast through Northern California. Snow picking up as well. That will hit the Tahoe Basin overnight Tuesday into Wednesday, but you can see how quick moving this storm system is because by Wednesday afternoon, we're right back to a dry outlook, and that largely looks like it's going to stay in place all the way through the beginning of February. Slight chance of seeing some precipitation moving through on the weekend forecast, but overall the picture looks pretty dry here. In terms of total rainfall, anywhere from about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch potentially north of I-80. In the Tahoe Basin, just about 1 to 2 inches of snow possible. Not much coming in towards Yosemite and the Central Sierra. Let's talk numbers now. Early on in the day, we'll see a mix of sun and clouds. Highs are going to reach the 40s before that band of precipitation starts to roll our way. Highs in the 50s and 60s down low throughout the foothills. Checking in on the Central Sierra, highs are going to reach the lower 50s before we see just a slight chance of a dusting of snow rolling through overnight. Highs in the Central Valley will be in the 60s. Nice to see a little less in the way of that widespread dense fog. We'll still see a touch of it for the morning, but then things are really starting to erode during the afternoon. 60s as we head towards the central San Joaquin Valley over towards the Central Coast. Highs are going to be in the 50s and 60s. For the Bay Area, we're looking at areas of showers picking up late in the day. Highs in the 60s, inland areas in the 50s, and as we move towards the northwest coast, highs are in the 50s and 60s with near 60-degree temperatures on the north end of the valley. Capital Region forecast, highs are going to be in the 50s to near 60 heading into our Tuesday. And again, a little bit of a disruptive pattern overnight Tuesday into Wednesday, but otherwise a largely dry outlook for us throughout the region. A look at our extended forecast throughout the valley. Highs are going to reach the upper 50s to right around 60, pretty close to average actually. Once we get through that overnight Tuesday, early Wednesday rain, you can see we're mostly in a dry and warming pattern heading into next week, which will be the first week of February.
Stick with us. Meteorologist Ginger Jeffries has your forecast from Phoenix coming up next. We'll be right back. Phoenix is kicking off the day in the 70s with high temperatures well above normal due to a persistent high pressure ridge. Meteorologist Ginger Jeffries shows us how long that pattern is expected to hold. Coming up.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries with a look at your weather out west. And you know what we're looking at right now? More of this. Yes, commanding sunshine, high pressure temperatures. Oh my goodness, in the comfort zone. And we've got a healthy stretch. I'm not just talking about the rest of the work week into the weekend, but we're going long range model, 6 to 10 days out. Yeah, things are looking pretty nice. So what does that break down to? Oh, 70s overhead. Not bad, Phoenix. Now remember, with highs at about 71 degrees, which is edging our average range of 69. That means the bulk of the day, of course, we're going to be in the 50s and 60s. We're still starting off pretty chilly in the morning with clear skies and winds definitely coming down from yesterday. We'll continue to see some wind around Bullhead City, but temperatures, this isn't bad. I mean, we've got 73 today in Yuma, 72 in Parker, 57 for Prescott, 10 better in Flagstaff. I've got 60 in Globe and 67 in Tucson. Yesterday for the Valley, we actually had a peak wind of 28 8 miles an hour. Of course, that's not a big deal for us. We're a natural wind tunnel, but again, just kind of showing that we're getting rid of those low pressure waves that were rolling through over the weekend, and now we're kind of stable. I mean, winds under 10 miles an hour for the higher elevations and the valley. That means we're in the zone. Nice clear skies, 40s to start off the day. We're in the mid 50s by the 10 o'clock hour, mid 60s by noon, but I think we can get up to about 71 degrees around 4 o'clock this afternoon. So it's just going to be a beautiful day. Northeast winds at about 6 miles an hour. Not as much wind as yesterday. Atmosphere really calming down today. Yes, this map is in motion because look at this. We're going to be nice and clear until tonight. And then we're going to start to see these clouds converge overhead, everything moving up from the south. Doesn't look like they're going to bring in any kind of saturation. Just indicates that we're going to get this blanket of cloud cover overnight. So overnight conditions not as cold as what we saw for the past couple of nights. So increasing clouds tonight as we drop down to about 47 degrees, and it's going to set the stage for, a little bit of cloud cover for your Wednesday as daytime highs continue their climb. Look at this. From 71 today to 73 tomorrow, you note a theme here. Numbers will continue to climb. We should get into the mid 70s by Thursday, upper 70s for Saturday and Sunday. But look at the records, 86 to 83 degrees. So even though we're above the normal range, we're not going to be breaking any records. Now let's take this a little further out. I mentioned that long range forecast. Well, look at this. 6 to 10 days out, we're still above the normal range, and it doesn't look like we've got any rain in the works. Everything appears right now, and again, long range forecasts love to change, but it does look like we're going to stay on the dry side for at least the next 6-10 days, which does take us into the first week of February, which of course, all eyes always on the Valley of the Sun as we've got the open coming our direction. Not on the forecast yet, but it's on my radar, so I'll keep you posted. Flagstaff, no fresh snow in the works for you. Instead, 40s and 50s overnights. Still really nice snow-making conditions. And here in the valley, we're going to see off and on cloud cover Wednesday and Thursday. Otherwise, high pressure really in charge for your weekend plans. We're going to tickle that 80-degree marker. I don't think we're going to hit it. Just above normal, not record range.
Coming up after the break, more on a cold front that's headed to Oregon, bringing a change in the weather. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Weather Out West. Now in the northwest, an incoming cold front is set to bring rain after an unseasonably dry start to the year, along with blustery, wet conditions. Meteorologist Rod Hill breaks down what's in that forecast for Portland.
We have a big story in Portland. I'm Rod Hill. Happy Tuesday to you. Our big story is, dun, 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 we finally have a weather system that's going to push inland. We have been, it's coming up on about 2 weeks now with basically no significant moisture at all, mountains or valley. We've had all these cold, frosty nights because of the dry weather. This morning, actually, day 10 in a row that PDX, our airport, has dropped down to 32 or colder. All of that is going to be changing. You can see the clouds offshore. We've had some breaks or thin spots in cloud cover this morning, but clouds will be thickening up during the day. Here's the way Futurecast shows it. Now, if you are going to be in the Rose City today, we could easily stay dry all the way through 5 p.m. Here's Futurecast. This is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Everybody's dry. We get to 2 o'clock and later, and we'll look for some rain to start coming inland to the coast. This is nothing big. It's just big news because we haven't had any rain. So here we are at 5 p.m. Light rain in Eugene, light rain toying with Salem, starting to come over the coast range up into the North Valley. So into early evening, we think Portland will get some rain. Probably just enough to be measurable. Then that breaks up. Snow, see the blue over the mountains? Snow levels overnight tonight into tomorrow morning will be at pass level on Mount Hood. Not much total moisture, but maybe just a touch of some icy conditions up there early tomorrow morning. So travelers check conditions. This is Tuesday this evening at 9 o'clock. And then here's tomorrow morning, some rain, and then you've got rain waves picking up in the afternoon. Here we are at 3 o'clock, and then there's additional waves of rain that will come into Thursday morning. So clearly it's going to be a mixed bag the next several days of dry time, then some passing rain, and then dry time, then some passing rain. Again, nothing looks overly impressive, but at least we're going to start racking up some measurable rainfall day after day after day. Now the weather models, I still believe this is probably too wet. This is rain that would come in today through Friday at 5 p.m. This likes an inch or more in Lincoln City up through Astoria. and at least 1/4 of an inch or more up and down the I-5 corridor. So we'll see. This is loads of fun. This is our seaside camera. And I think that is a hoverboard right there. I think that's a hoverboard too, obviously. And then we've got surfers out there. The marine forecast today, by the way, for our north coast is seas coming in about 6 to 9 feet. So some decent ways for the boarders to ride on this Tuesday. There's our state capitol. And yeah, that's our frosty morning. You can see the white on the grass in front of the Capitol building there. Portland, we had some early sun, but now the clouds are just coming. So overall, we're going to be more gray than not today. 50s at the coast with the shower chances beginning about 2 o'clock. And then later today, we mentioned into the valley. All dry and all partly sunny in central and eastern Oregon today. Been pretty nice, getting up to 50 degrees. Here is the 7-day forecast that brings in changing weather for us. 48 today. If the clouds are thick from this point forward, maybe only mid-40s. And then tomorrow, though, 40 in the morning, 50 in the afternoon. Rain at times, mixed with dry weather. Same thing Thursday. Temperatures continue to warm. 44 Thursday morning, long ways from being freezing. And then mid-50s, same thing on Friday. It looks like Saturday could simply be dry. And maybe upper 50s, approaching 60, a really nice day. There's a chance of a shower on Sunday, but lots of dry time as well.
Heading up the I-5 corridor, wet, windy, and warmer conditions are in store for Seattle, ending a 15-day cold and dry spell. Today is the 15th day without any wet weather that we've seen up here in Seattle. Meteorologist Leah Pizzetti has all the details on that forecast.
Hey there, happy Tuesday to you. I am meteorologist Leah Pizzetti, and let's take a look on the forecast in Western Washington. I want to talk about a couple different things because we have a lot going on in the forecast. First of all, snowpack. I want to hit our snowpack in just a few minutes, but we are hurting. And while changes are in the forecast this week, we're not expecting too much in the form of snow. So I want to address that. Plus, what do you notice in the sky? This Mount Rainier camera on this Tuesday is showing cloud cover. Yes, that is a sign of the changes that are on the way in Washington. We have rain moving in. It's been a while since we said that. So the cloudy skies are all the way from the mountains to the coast. Here is a view from Westport on this Tuesday. We're also looking at widespread clouds, and that is going to be the big theme of the day. Is those clouds are going to roll in today. That's a sign of the rain that's coming in tonight. This is going to break our dry spell, and with it comes warmer temperatures as well. In fact, above average temperatures by the end of this work week. And with those warmer temperatures as well, we're going to increase our snow levels. So yes, that's bad news for our snowpack. We are hurting in our snowpack. Many areas are less than 50% of where we should be for this time of the year, and I'm not seeing much in the way of significant mountain snow heading our way, even though we have rain that's moving in. And typically this time of the year we see rain in the lowlands. That means snow in the mountains. But what we're seeing here is as this rain pushes in, we're seeing the precipitation coming from the southwest, and that tends to be warmer, more of an atmospheric river event. I want to see it coming from the northwest, from the Gulf of Alaska. That brings that colder air, and that is what we need as of right now. But that's not the case. Rounds of rain are coming in. Look at this. That is a pretty clear atmospheric river, even though it's very weak in nature. It's not bringing necessarily heavy rain. It's the temperatures that I'm watching with this one, and that's going to keep snow levels on the higher side. So what I want to see is snow levels down to about 2,000 feet, because that would include Snoqualmie Pass, our lowest pass at 3,000 feet. But unfortunately, the lowest we're going to get is 4,000 feet. That does happen tomorrow, and we could pick up a couple inches of snow for those areas above 4,000 feet for tomorrow. But then we're going to increase our snow levels, getting up to about 5,000 to 6,000 feet by the end of this week. So what that means is only our highest elevations are going to tap into that snow. I want it a lot lower than that to help build our snowpack, because we are certainly hurting. As we take a look forward into today, though, we're staying dry. The rain is not here quite yet. So we're going to see cloud cover throughout the day. We will see the sun try to peek out at times. Some sun breaks are mixed in as well. Temperatures will spend most of the day in the 40s for our Tuesday. Highs for the day will be right around 50 degrees, upper 40s into the low 50s for a good chunk of Western Washington. That's not far off from normal for this time of the year. We have been keeping an eye on this dry spell. As of yesterday, Monday marked marked 14 straight days of no rain at SeaTac, our official gauge. The record for dry spell, that's no measurable rain, 1/100th of an inch of rain, is 15 days set in 1963. So if we go today with no rain, we will tie that record. But rain does look like it's going to move in later on tonight. This is 10 p.m. We could sneak a light shower in. All we need is 1/100th of an inch, and that means we will not tie the record. Into tomorrow, we're going to keep those showers rolling through. This is tomorrow afternoon. It increases into the evening. The heaviest rain is going to be along the coast, little bit of snow in the mountains, and then we're going to see those snow levels increasing. Those rounds of rain continuing into Thursday, into Friday as well. So this wet pattern is back after an extended dry spell. Look at those temperatures. After a weekend where our lows were in the teens and 20s, our lows are back in the mid 40s and our highs are in the mid 50s.
Coming up, we'll hear from our team in Spokane and Boise to see how much the rain will be affecting them. Coming up. Eastern Washington is also warming up as rain moves back into the forecast. With this system, higher rain chances are expected through much of the week. Meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane explains the warm-up and showers on the horizon.
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. We are getting blasted with some sunshine this morning, which is just wonderful to see. Still ended up pretty cool yesterday, but today we'll start to turn our temperatures over. Already a little bit warmer to start the day. It'll be a little bit warmer to finish, and still day after day, warmer than the last. That warming trend might feel a little slow at first, but by this weekend when it's close to 50 degrees, that's when you'll definitely notice it. Might get a small chance for some snow tonight and Wednesday morning. After that, it's an all rain forecast, especially for Thursday and Friday, since our weather is warming up so quickly. But like yesterday, sunshine to start the day. Our mountains absolutely gorgeous at around sunrise, from Silver Mountain in Idaho to Mount Spokane in Washington. Absolutely stunning to see all the clear skies to the east. But much like yesterday, the clouds are building in from the west. So I do think it will ultimately be a mostly cloudy afternoon. Thankfully, temperatures are already a little bit warmer starting the day, so it should be warmer to finish the day. That'll put our highs in the 30s pretty comfortably today, and even some 40s starting to pop up for Eastern Washington. Pullman, 43, Ritzville, 42. A few spots in North Idaho, the same. Moscow, 42, and Lewiston, 40. So it is about 5 to 7 degrees warmer today versus yesterday. That will put us back to average for late January, a high of 37 versus the average of 36. So still cold enough to warrant a jacket and hat in the morning. But again, when we get to 50 degrees, that's when we'll notice a bigger difference. So here's what Future Tracker looks like. I've really only been using this for cloud coverage recently, but I'm really glad to be able to use it for actually rain and snow chances for the rest of this week. First time in nearly 3 weeks since we've had any rain or any snow in the forecast. Just a little bit for the morning. The pink here would be a rain-snow mix. I do think it will be cold enough for snow, or at least snow flakes. Maybe a light dusting of accumulation, especially for cars parked outside. Doesn't stick around all day. So I'm not going to show a snow accumulation map because effectively that's not going to happen at our low elevations. Just a quick little pass of some rain and snow in the morning. After that, it will be all rain from there on out, thanks to our warming weather trend. And the big picture really reveals why it's going to be that way. It's an atmospheric river, albeit a weak one, but enough of a draw of that warmer air and a bit of moisture is going to be aimed at the Pacific Northwest. So that's why temperatures will climb and climb and climb, and a little bit of rain will be here or there. The signal is extremely strong, though, especially for warmer than average conditions across most of the West Coast starting in February. Unfortunately, we're not going to get a ton of snow, and we are way behind when it comes to the snowpack, especially for North Idaho and Eastern Washington. Only 25% of normal for Spokane County and Kootenai County specifically. We might add a little bit of mountain snow late this week, but it is mostly just going to be lowland rain for Thursday and Friday as temperatures climb easily into the 40s and maybe even close to 50 this weekend.
Boise also started the day dry with mild temperatures expected this afternoon. Wednesday, though, is the day to watch with a chance of snow across southwest Idaho. Hector Mendoza explains what this could all mean for snow levels in Idaho.
Well, here in Idaho and across the Treasure Valley, we've seen this high pressure system dominate here as we'll continue here through this week. But we do have a few systems that may start to break through, and that's going to bring us a chance for some light precipitation, likely coming as snow here at times as we head towards the rest of the week. So first, let's look at some of the mountain spots. Higher chances coming along as you climb in elevations. A lot of these snow levels will also start to drop. We're expecting to stick around 4,000 to 4,500 feet. So anything above that, we're going to see a lot of those cold temperatures and some of that snow to come along. It doesn't necessarily accumulate to too much, as we could see a possibility about an inch maybe as we head towards Thursday and heading in through Friday. And of course, those chances will really start to diminish. Then we'll see a redevelopment of this ridge of high pressure that's going to bring us some drier conditions, even warmer temperatures, as we'll be back into the 40s as we look at Saturday and Sunday for some of those mountain spots. And of course, we have a quick hitting system that comes in that brings in a cold front, and it'll bring us a quick shot of some snow here as we get on into tomorrow. But again, a lot of that really doesn't amount to too much. So looking at the 7-day forecast here for the Twin Falls area, here's where we see the least amount here through tomorrow morning. The possibility is still there, but a very low chance as we look at some of the places there through Twin Falls. Temperatures will continue warm here through the afternoon, so our best chance is going to see that through a very tight window in through the morning. It'll be very short-lived as we'll see much drier conditions coming in through Wednesday and Thursday. Patchy fog a possibility through the Magic Valley with temperatures warming up near 50 as we look at Sunday and even heading in through Monday. Very similar conditions when we talk about some of the temperatures and seeing some of the clouds come and go here at times in through the weekend, as well as paying attention to some of the patchy fog here towards the end of the week and even into the beginning of the weekend. But of course, the biggest thing is going to be the chance to see some flurries here, as we really haven't seen a lot of that snow, only 1/10 of an inch so far this winter season. We're expecting to see a possibility of that at most here as we look at Wednesday morning. And again, the timing on that looks to be between 5 o'clock in the morning and 10 a.m. So we'll continue to pay attention to that. And of course, those milder temperatures are going to continue to come through here through the rest of the week with temperatures getting near 50. So again, as we look at some of the precipitation chances, a lot of this could really start to fall as snow as we look at some of the cold temperatures that will continue here through tomorrow morning. So again, looking at this future cast, we're going to start off with some of those clouds that will increase here through today. That as we fast forward, but then as we head on in through tonight, we are going to start to notice that some of these showers will start to slowly make their way through. And again, if any precipitation starts to fall here in the Treasure and Magic Valleys, a lot of that comes along as snow. Now again, it's about 1/10 of an inch possible here at most for the Treasure and Magic Valleys. And then as it continues on further east, a lot of these chances really start to diminish. Most of that will really stick around here through portions of the mountains, and of course, very short-lived as we fast forward here through the rest of our Wednesday, heading in through Wednesday night. And looking at Thursday morning, we'll see some of those clouds increase, and we do have another chance to see a shot of some of those showers as we look at Thursday morning heading in through the afternoon. But a lot of that really just becomes very uncertain as we're looking on ahead here through the Treasure and Magic Valleys. So of course, we'll pay attention to any more precipitation chances, but we look likely to stay dry here as we head towards the weekend, again with warmer temperatures coming along for Saturday and Sunday.
Coming up on Weather Out West, we'll take a closer look at how the extreme cold is affecting people's hearts and what you can do to stay safe during this frigid weather. At the beginning of the show, we told you about the cold temperatures gripping the eastern half of the United States, and that kind of cold can affect your body in many ways, and it can be particularly hard on your heart. Mandy Gaither has more on the toll this extreme weather can take.
Whether it's shoveling snow or de-icing your car, winter weather can be hard work, especially for your heart.
You're going out into very chilly weather, which it could also be a very different climate than you're accustomed to, so a stressor to the body, trying to do something that's incredibly physically challenging.
Dr. Tamana Singh with Cleveland Clinic says in the cold, our bodies are also working to maintain core temperature, straining the heart as blood vessels constrict. Blood pressure and heart rate both rise. For those who already have heart problems, it can be dangerous.
This is why we tend to see a number of heart attacks or cardiac consequences when people people are shoveling snow or doing a lot of heavy effort, high intense work in cold weather or snowy conditions.
To protect your heart, Singh says not to underestimate the weather. If you go outside, dress in layers and wear sweat-wicking clothing. Cover areas that lose heat like ears and your head. Put on thick wool socks and gloves.
Put in some breaks if you're shoveling. Ask for some help. If there's a better time of day to do some of that shoveling, like under the heat of the sun, I would certainly advocate for that.
And be aware of red flag symptoms, including chest pain or discomfort, jaw pain or tightness, and general unease. Singh says if something feels off, get inside and call 911.
I definitely encourage all of my patients to be safe rather than sorry in these situations.
Well, that does it for us here on Weather Out West. I'm Savannah Welch. Thank you so much for being with us today, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.